Our country is home of the free, land of the brave. We do not become cowards and send people away that are looking for help. This is a real burden on New Yorkers. We already have an overburdened shelter system. So now we're talking about, as you stated, food, clothing, school.
Let me get this straight. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is calling Governors Ducey and Abbott cowards for busing illegal migrants out of their states. But then Adams admits those same illegal migrants are a burden on New York City. All right, joining me now to talk about this further is Stephen Miller, former White House senior policy advisor and founder of America First Legal. Stephen, good to see you. So isn't it rich that once Mayor Adams sees the pain of illegal immigration, the cost to the city, he calls it out and asks for help. But for the last year, Arizona and Texas have been dealing with this absolute flood of migrants into the country. He said nothing.
So much to say here. So let's start by saying that somehow Eric Adams has managed to be an even worse mayor than Bill de Blasio, which is quite an achievement, but it's happened. He is now, on top of everything else, a shameless hypocrite on illegal immigration. Let's be very clear. Whether you are in Texas, New York, Minnesota, Wisconsin, California, it makes no difference. If you're here illegally, you are draining taxpayer resources in violation of federal law in a place you have no right to be. They don't belong in Texas, Arizona, or New York City. They belong in their home country because they came here in violation of the law. Second point, New York is a sanctuary city. The policies of New York City shield, shelter, and protect illegal aliens, including criminal illegal aliens, from deportation. So this is a burden on the people of New York imposed by their own politicians, including Eric Adams. And the last point I'll make about this is that if Eric Adams actually wanted to spare his citizens and the people of America from this unconscionable burden on our social safety net, then he would be picking up the phone, calling Joe Biden, and telling him, stop releasing illegal aliens by the millions into our country.
And Stephen, I guess that's my question, because you start to look at Democrats, cities and states where they really have been silent about illegal migration, but you know the cost that this has on communities, whether it's in the school system, with health care, with regard to food, social services that are provided to people. You start to tap out those systems that were meant for your people, your citizens, your voters, and you start giving it to people who are legally in the country. Is the only way that Joe Biden changes course is by liberal mayors, liberal governors that call him to go, listen, this is way too much for our community. You got to stop, Joe.
Yeah, tragically, sadly, the left-wing mayors in this country will never break from their party doctrine. That's why Adams is shamelessly attacking the victims here, the states of Texas and Arizona, and not Joe Biden. No, the only way this ends is with a resounding Republican victory in November. And that's frankly why I'm a little bit worried right now. Because, true talk here, I don't hear enough from Republicans right now on immigration and the border. They need to be talking about this with urgency every day. Look, we know that the New York Times, Washington Post, ABC, CBS, NBC, and on down the list aren't going to be talking about it. It's the job of Republicans, understanding that sad reality, to put this onto the front of the national agenda over the next few months heading into the election. And one more point on this, which I think you'll appreciate. Mitch McConnell cannot do a long-term, year-long omnibus spending bill in the lame duck, robbing a new Republican majority of their only opportunity to shut down this border crisis. We need a short-term CR into February, into March. With 50 senators, we have the leverage to do it. Let a new Republican majority come in and shut down this god-awful border disaster.
Stephen, I thought you make a really good point, because I look at Donald Trump's election, and he was talking about borders and border securities and building walls, and even Republicans. I was in the Congress then. They're like, oh, that's too much. That language is too tough. We shouldn't talk about illegal immigration. Donald Trump never stopped, and it became a platform in his campaign that people rallied around. You're right that Republicans don't talk about the border enough. And I think if they did, Americans would rally around it. But ABC, NBC, CBS, the liberals aren't going to talk about it. But if Republicans do, I think that's a great way to get more attention to it and actually change the policy.
It's the only way, and we'll win a record number of Latino voters if we do it. Look what's happening in the south of Texas. Hispanic American citizens are bearing the brunt of this. You talked earlier about schools. It's their public school classrooms that are being overwhelmed. It's the hospitals and the communities where they live.
They can't use the hospitals, Stephen. They can't get to the hospitals because they're filled up with illegals. I mean, it's a huge problem that impacts, it doesn't matter the color of your skin or your sexual preference. It's affecting everybody.
It impacts everyone. And it just so happens that you do have these border communities with very large Hispanic American populations that are the first point of reception for illegal immigrants floating across the border, getting medical care before they filter off to the rest of the country. And so we would be able to win a record margin of these voters by talking about what they're experiencing every single day. The conversation in Washington, D.C. is not what people in the normal, regular course of life are thinking about, experiencing, and feeling.
And just, even leaders in liberal cities and states may not talk about it, but the people in those communities feel the impact of illegal immigration, and they want change. But I got to pivot because I don't have much time left. The Supreme Court dealt another legal blow to the Biden administration's immigration plan earlier. What impact is that going to have? It's a decision that's going to change the way that Joe Biden prioritizes illegal migration for deportation.
Well, I don't believe that Joe Biden and his ICE are going to comply with the Supreme Court's ruling ultimately. I fear this is going to be an issue that's going to have to be taken up by a select committee in the new Congress, possibly leading to articles of impeachment. On paper, the Supreme Court is saying, you, Joe Biden, do not have the right to suspend the immigration laws passed by Congress. Joe Biden's orders are so extreme, and this is something that Republicans aren't explaining. ICE officers are being forced to release illegal immigrants with serious criminal records. So all throughout the country, local police are arresting illegal aliens, and ICE is letting them go on the orders of Joe Biden's administration. This is something we should be talking about, and it's something the next Congress is going to need to investigate.
Stephen Miller, I'm not sure you're going to get a select panel, but I guarantee you when the cavalry comes in January, you are going to see a lot of oversight on this issue and others. We appreciate all your good work, and thank you for joining me, Stephen Miller.
Thank you.